Last year, 73-9 Golden State Warriors were heavily favored to win the championship. No one picked the Cavs to win. After Game 2, everyone said this series is pretty much over. After Game 4, everyone else said the series was over. All the Cavs fans, the few who were on the bandwagon at the beginning, jumped off the bandwagon after Game 2. The final few jumped off after Game 4. It was an autonomous vehicle. Now we talking about Uber and Amazon working on, and Google working on autonomous vehicles. They already existed because the Cavs bandwagon had no one riding on it last year after Game 4. Oh, except the person who picked the Cavs to win in 6. Me. And that video is still on YouTube. But forget that. We don't need to keep talking about old shit. Let's talk about the 2017 NBA Finals. Who were the X factors? Who should we watch out for? What are the key matchups that need to be won or lost by each team? And most importantly, who's going to win the championship this year? I know the answers. You listen in. Let's get to it.
DreAllDay.com.
What's good, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. We are here, 2017 NBA Finals. I want to let you know something. I don't usually like to do second drafts or revisions of the videos that I make. I do them in one take and it's done. I recorded a 40-minute video going over the NBA Finals just 10 minutes ago, 40 minutes long. None of the audio worked. None of the audio worked at all. The vision was perfect. The video was perfect. The audio didn't work at all. So I'm doing this again. Second time's the charm. So let's get right into it. 2017 NBA playoffs. A lot of people have said that the playoffs sucked. I like the playoffs. I like to see the best teams kick everybody's ass. That's exactly what the Warriors and the Cavs did. Now we know the Spurs got an injury. We know the Celtics got an injury, but the Cavs were already kicking the Celtics' ass before Isaiah Thomas went out. I mean, he might have already been injured and he was playing on it. The Spurs were kicking the Warriors' ass before Kawhi Leonard got injured. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But let's get into what both of these teams are bringing to the table, what the key matchups are going to be, and who's going to win and why, because that's exactly why you're here, right? First of all, let's talk about the challengers, the team who did not win the finals last year, the Golden State Warriors. You got the young guys, McCall and Ian Clark. I think both of these guys, you're going to see a little bit of them in the finals. I don't think we're going to see too much of either of these guys, but I do think if either of them could come in a game and get you maybe 10 points in a game, that could be the difference between winning a game and losing a game, especially as closely matched as these two teams are. So the bigs, Jaja Pachulia, and I'm going to call him Jaja simply because he fell on Kevin Durant's knee, was killed my fantasy season because Kevin Durant was on my fantasy team, put KD out for 20 games. And then his foot ended up under Kawhi Leonard's feet when he shot a jump shot. I've been playing basketball. I started playing basketball when I was like 14 years old and played thousands of games of basketball, defended thousands of jump shots. I've never ever in my life had a shooter shoot a jump shot and land on my foot. That ain't no mistake. That ain't no accident. That's not just somebody playing defense. If somebody shoots a jump shot and they land on your foot, you did something to make that happen and you had to be thinking about it. Again, I played thousands of games of basketball and defended thousands of shots. Never have I had any defender land on my foot, and never have I shot a shot and landed on the defender's foot, even when they were closely contesting my shot. So that's all I'm going to say about that. We're talking about Jaja Pachulia, and I'm going to call him Jaja because of those two things that he did. Then we got JaVale McGee, and you got David West. David West, I don't think he's going to play too much. I mean, he's the veteran guy. He's an older guy. He's not fast. He's not athletic. I don't think he's going to be able to be much of a factor based on who the Cavs have at their quote-unquote big spots. You're looking at Channing Frye, who can shoot the three. You got Tristan Thompson, who's a super athlete with a high motor on the offensive glass. And you got Kevin Love, who can score, create his own shot, and take you out to the three-point line. And then maybe LeBron James. When they play the smaller lineup, LeBron James is one of the Cavs' bigs. David West ain't guarding none of those guys. So I don't think we're going to see too much David West in the NBA Finals. But JaVale McGee, guy who I think for the Warriors, throughout his years in the league, he's been a factor, but in a negative way. He'll make some bonehead play. He'll do something to get someone shacked in a fool. He hasn't been a guy you would want on the court in a crucial moment because JaVale McGee was an unreliable guy. What the Warriors have done, they have not made JaVale McGee a better player. He appears to be, but they haven't changed him at all. He's still the same player. The only difference with JaVale now is the Warriors put him in a situation where all he had to do was what they asked him to do. Just do this. Don't do anything other than this. Run the floor, grab a couple rebounds, block a couple shots. If we throw you an alley-oop or you get the ball steaming towards the basket, just dunk it. That's it. You don't have to throw no passes. Don't create. Don't try to make a play. We're not calling any post-ups for you. Don't do anything outside of what we asked you to do, and you'll be good. JaVale McGee being on a good basketball team, being the Warriors, he just did what they asked him to do, and guess what? It's working. So if he just does that in the finals, I think he will be a factor in that he can block a couple shots He can make some plays above the rim that no one on the Cavs can defend. The Cavs don't have anyone as athletic or at the size of JaVale at the same time. I mean, you got LeBron, you got Tristan, but Tristan's not even the size of JaVale McGee. So I think, and also I think Tristan Thompson for the Cavaliers is more of a factor offensively for them just because of his offensive rebound. The Warriors' challenge is who are they going to put in to combat Tristan Thompson when he's doing all that rebounding on the offensive glass and killing. He's killed teams all year. That's basically his whole career, is killing teams on the offensive glass, at least as long as LeBron's been back in Cleveland. That's what Tristan Thompson does. He kills you on the offensive boards. So the question is, who are the Warriors going to put in to go against him? It ain't going to be David West. I don't think Zaza Pachulia is up to the task. He's not athletic enough. He is big and strong enough, but he's too floor bound, and when that ball is up above that rim and both guys jump, Zaza Pachulia can't do nothing against Tristan Thompson. And I know the Celtics finally came up with a strategy, put a body on him and just box the hell out of him so he can't jump and get to the rebound. But who the Warriors have who's going to do that? Who are they going to put in there to be that guy? Because whoever they put in there to be that guy, they may have to sacrifice offensively. Because JaVale, despite the fact that he can finish above the rim, doesn't do anything else for you on offense, and he clogs the lane. There's not enough spacing when he's on the floor. David West can hit the outside shot, but he's definitely not athletic enough. JaVale McGee, again, he can finish around the rim. He's athletic. I don't think he has the boxing out know-how, not know-how, but the fundamentals. I don't think he's as fundamentally sound as he needs to be to keep Tristan off those offensive boards. And Zaza Pachulia kills you offensively. He's in the way because he can't do anything on offense if you put him in, and he's floor bound. So I think the Warriors need to figure out who they're going to do, who they're going to use to handle that Tristan Thompson issue. That is an issue that they need to handle. Now, we forgot about Kevin Durant. He's a new player on the team. We shouldn't forget about KD. KD was on my fantasy team this year, so I knew a little bit more about his stats than I would about the average guy. And Kevin Durant, we know he can give you 30 points a game. As Stephen A. Smith has said, he can pull up from 30. He can pull up from 35 and score on you whenever he feels like it. His efficiency actually went up this year. Less having to do isolation, less having to create something out of nothing, less one-on-ones. He started scoring even better than he was scoring in OKC, at least efficiency-wise. I'm not saying that stat-wise. I don't know the actual stats, and if y'all want to pull it, you can go ahead and pull those stats. But even though his scoring went down by about 5-6 points per game, his efficiency was much better. He had to take fewer shots to get more points, so to speak. His three-point shooting percentages, his two-point shooting percentages, he was shooting a lot more open looks, a lot more spaced floor, a lot less was dependent on him. So the defenses couldn't focus so much just on KD because you had to worry about this guy, this guy, this guy, and that guy. So KD he's benefited a lot offensively being on the team like the Golden State Warriors, even though his scoring average actually went down. And KD is along with Kawhi Leonard, I say KD, Kawhi Leonard, and maybe I'm gonna give him a half of this, the Greek Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo over in Milwaukee, the Greek Freak. The only three guys in the NBA who can go head-to-head with LeBron James on both ends of the floor for a full game. There are no other players in the league who can do it. You got KD, Kawhi, and maybe the Greek Freak, maybe next year when he gets there. I thought maybe he could have gave him a matchup this year if they had beat Toronto in the second round, but the Cavs would have swept the Bucks because the Bucks don't have any other players on that team who can compete with what the Cavs were doing. But anyway, that's a different conversation. KD being on the Warriors this year is going to help the Warriors simply because LeBron James is going to have to guard him. LeBron James actually got to guard him. Last year in the finals, Harrison Barnes was in there, and the Cavs basically started ignoring Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes forgot how to make an open shot. I think the pressure of the game and the fact that he was missing started to get in his head, and he was just a non-factor, completely a non-factor on the floor. Then the Warriors also had a couple guys who weren't great three-point shooters out there, like Andre Iguodala, even though Iguodala killed the Cavs in 2015 by making a couple wide-open threes, since Cavs didn't have a small guy to go with that small lineup that they discovered in the middle of the finals. Sean Livingston's a guy who could play over the top of some of the Cavs' smaller guards, and he's a scorer. He can't hit threes. He's not a three-point shooter, but he can put the ball in the basket, and he won't hurt you. Him along with Iguodala, those veteran guys who could come in and not going to hurt the team. Now, looking at the rest of the Golden State Warriors, of course, we got our usual suspect. And you got Draymond Green, a guy who I was not a fan of before because with all the kicking people, hitting people in the nuts, and the lame excuse he gave for kicking people and all that stuff. But Draymond Green is the straw that stirs the drink for the Warriors, so to speak. He's the guy who won't let anybody not show up. He's the dude that says, yo, you need to start playing. You need to do this. You need to do your thing. You need to do what you're supposed to do. There was one game during the season when KD had the ball top of the key. He was trying to isolate late in the game. It was a close game for the Warriors. KD tried to isolate, but they were trying to run a play. Draymond was mad because KD wouldn't run the play. Draymond's off in the corner. He's yelling at KD. He's angry. After the play, he's screaming at KD. On the bench, he's talking to KD, letting him know, yo, we supposed to do this. I don't know what he was saying. But the point is that Draymond Green is a guy who could go to anybody on the team and say, yo, you need to do your job. You need to do what you're supposed to do. You're not playing. You're not filling your role. You didn't show up. He's a dude who won't let the team not show up. And that's what I like about him. That mental toughness, that edge that he has, and the fact that he could go to anybody on the team and do it. Whereas on the Warriors, I mean, not on the Warriors, on the Cavs, the only guy on the team who fits that role or is close to it is a guy like Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson is a guy who has that motor, comes to play every game, but he can't go to a Kyrie Irving and say, yo, do what you're supposed to do. He can't go to a LeBron and yell at LeBron when LeBron's not playing like he didn't in Game 3 against the Celtics. Simply because Tristan doesn't have the skill level. He doesn't have the resume of those guys. Draymond Green is an all-star. He has the offensive skills, enough offensive skills at least, that he could go to Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, KD, or the coach, get in their face and say, yo, this is what we're supposed to be doing. No, I don't want to do that. He is the straw that stirs the drink. As I say, he has that energy, that mental toughness, that edge that he's not going to let his team lose. And when I say not let the team lose, I don't mean just because he plays they're going to win every game. But what I mean is he shows up mentally every single night. And he makes sure everybody around him shows up mentally every single night. And that applies to business, sports, family, anything. You need a guy like that to win. The Cavaliers have a guy like, again, Tristan Thompson, that energy guy who brings that mental edge every game. And they got a guy like LeBron who would do it more quietly, more maybe in private. I don't know how he does it, but he's not a guy who's going to get in your face in the middle of a game and say something to you. It usually is a guy who's not a scorer. So it's not going to be a KD, Klay, Steph, Kyrie, LeBron. It's not going to be one of those guys. It's going to be a guy who's, the way that they affect the game more is through their energy, like such as rebounding, defense, steals, blocking shots. Those are energy plays. Tristan Thompson is a guy who plays with energy. Offensive rebounds, catching alley-oops for dunks. He dominates the game with his energy and activity. And Draymond Green does the same thing. He throws a little bit more skill on top of it than Tristan Thompson does. We all know. But it's the exact same role. And I think also with Draymond Green, the fact that many people could blame him, and he definitely has blamed himself, I think. I'm not sure I heard it directly in interviews, but Draymond Green, he strikes me as the type of person, let me say it this way. He strikes me as the type of person who would blame himself for the Warriors losing the championship last year because of getting himself suspended, and he wants to redeem himself. I heard him say in an interview, if we both make it, I want to destroy the Cavaliers in the finals next year. He said that in October of 2016. So I know he's been looking forward to this all year. I know he's going to come ready to play, and of course the Cavs are too. Everybody's going to come ready to play because these are the best teams in the league. And then you got the Splash Brothers. We know what Klay Thompson can do. We know what Steph Curry can do. These guys both can put the ball in the basket. Even Klay when he goes cold, or Steph when he goes cold, all they need is one made basket. Actually, they need 0 made baskets to heat up all over again. Steph Curry last year, the Cavs got physical with him, or was it somebody playing great defense? We don't know. But either way, Steph Curry was outplayed by Kyrie last year. I think he has something to prove. And even though many people ain't even really been talking about that much, or talking about Steph Curry at all, they say, oh, Klay's been missing shots. Draymond's got to redeem himself. KD gets a chance to finally win a championship as he came to the Warriors. People have kind of been overlooking, so to speak, not completely, but overlooking a little bit Stephen Curry this year. And I think Stephen Curry's out there ready to prove something. Looking on the other side of things, Cleveland Cavaliers. Looking at their role players, you got a Channing Frye, a Kyle Korver, a Dante Jones, maybe to a lesser extent. You have a Darren Williams, who's a guy who all of a sudden has energy. All of a sudden he seems locked in and focused and ready to play, whereas he wasn't like that when he was in Dallas. He wasn't like that in Brooklyn. All of a sudden you get on a good team, things change. That's the thing that happens when you get around good leadership and you get in a winning environment. All of a sudden everybody's energy goes up. Definitely happened for Darren. Happened for a guy like JaVale McGee, who always played with energy, but he would make bonehead, stupid plays, trying to do too much. Get him on the Warriors where they say, all we want you to do is this, this, and this, and that's all he does, and he does well in that role. Darren Williams has done the same thing with the Cavs, maybe to a little bit lesser extent. Now, Channing Frye is a guy who can knock down that open three. Not much of a factor in the paint, but man, he can knock down those threes, and him being so big, he can play over the top of any defender you put on him. And he may be a problem for the Warriors if they try to go big on big with Channing. But I think what they'll try to do is go small and maybe make Channing Frye step out on the floor. And that's something I'm going to talk about again with the Cavs bigs and the Warriors bigs. Both of them have some issues in those big positions that are going to be a factor in these finals. Now, looking at the rest of the Cavs roster, you got a J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert, two athletic wing guys who can guard multiple positions, play physical on defense, maybe create a shot or two for themselves every game, knock down open shots when they're given those open shots, maybe make an offensive rebound or a tip dunk or a good defensive play against a more skilled player playing for the Warriors. All of those things matter for the Cavs, and they definitely needed this series from both of those guys. And I really love the maturity of a guy like J.R. Smith, who's gotten a lot more mature as he's been with the Cavs. Not trying to do too much offensively, not doing anything stupid for the most part, just game-wise, mental-wise. And he plays tough defense and gets out the way when he knows it's time to get out of the way for a Kyrie or LeBron James to do their thing. Big four for the Cavs. I call them the big four. Tristan Thompson, Kevin Love, Kyrie, and LeBron James. Now, we know Tristan Thompson's a guy who made himself $85 million from grabbing rebounds and running the pick and roll with LeBron. That's all he did. He makes $85 million because those are the two things that he did. You don't have to have every skill. All you got to do is have the right skills in the right place with the right people at the right time. You can get yourself a big contract. Tristan Thompson did exactly that. His offensive rebounding kills other teams. He killed the Pacers with it. He killed the Raptors with it. He killed the Celtics a lot before they finally start boxing him out in Game 3. And he's going to hurt the Warriors with it unless they have some idea that I don't know about is going to stop Tristan Thompson from doing his thing on the offensive boards. I don't know what their plan is. I don't see David West doing it. He's not athletic enough. JaVale McGee doesn't have the discipline defensively to box out an entire possession on Tristan. Well, at least at the time that the shot goes up. I don't think he has a defensive discipline. And I don't think the Warriors want to find out if he does during this series. Jaja Pachulia has the discipline, has the right mindset, but I'm not sure he has the athletic ability to keep up with a guy like Tristan. KD can do it, but I don't think he has the lower body strength, first of all. And I also don't think the Warriors want KD doing that as his job on defense. Only guy who can do it is Draymond. And I think Draymond's going to get the task, and I think Draymond will be up to the task. But I think Tristan Thompson's a little bit more athletic than Draymond. He can cover more airspace than Draymond because he's taller and he can jump higher than Draymond Green. But it's going to be a battle. That's a matchup I want y'all to watch. Draymond against Tristan when the Cavs have the ball. And also Draymond against Tristan when the Warriors have the ball. Draymond can put it on the floor, and Tristan, even though he's mobile defensively, let's see how much he can guard a guy who can put the ball on the floor. Because if he's going to be on the court, he's going to have to guard somebody. And the Warriors got a lot of guys who can put it on the floor. They can put 5 guys out there who can put the ball on the floor. That depth lineup is even more potent now that you got a guy like KD who can be a center and Draymond who can be a center. In that depth lineup, then you put 3 shooters. You got Klay, Steph, and whoever you want to put there. You want to put Sean Livingston. You want to put Andre Iguodala. Whoever you want to put at that spot who can knock down that 3. Even though Livingston's not that much of a shooter, he can still play it out on the perimeter areas. Let's put it that way. Then you got Kyrie Irving. We know what Kyrie can do. We know this guy made the game-winning shot in the finals last year. We know he outplayed Stephen Curry, in my opinion, throughout the finals last year, especially the last 3 games of the series, which is what people remember. And the question for Kyrie is not, is he going to score? Not, can he score? The question is he going to play any defense to try to slow down Steph Curry to where the Cavs don't have to mix and match lineups to hide Kyrie? Can Kyrie play any D to try to slow down what Steph Curry brings to the table? Experience says no. History says he's not going to do that. He's going to score. Steph's going to score. It's going to be a shootout as far as stats-wise between those 2 guys. But it's going to have to be somebody on either of those guys that they're going to slow them down at all. Like Klay on Kyrie or whoever, JR, Iman Shumpert on Steph Curry. Because neither of those guys can guard the other guy. If either of them can guard the other guy, that would be a huge swinging factor for the Warriors or the Cavs in this series. The difference between winning and losing a game. Kevin Love. Kevin Love won't grab any rebounds this series. Kevin Love's a guy who has that primary skill. You ever played with a guy like this? They have that primary skill where they're great at this thing, and they have the secondary skill they're pretty good at, but they only do the secondary thing if they're allowed to do the primary thing. For example, you play pickup with a guy who likes to bring the ball up. He likes to dribble a lot. He'll pass, but he likes to have the ball in his hands. He'll only play hard on D if he's allowed to bring the ball up and dribble a lot. If you don't let him dribble a lot, he won't play D. But if he does dribble out, he plays great D. Then you got a guy like Kevin Love, same thing, but just different roles. He's a great scorer, and if he gets the ball and he's allowed to get some points, either threes or in the post, he will grab rebounds. But if he's not getting the ball too much, not getting too many touches, he's just on the floor kind of like a role player, setting screens and stuff, he won't grab rebounds. Kevin Love needs to grab rebounds regardless of whether he gets the ball or not. Last year, he did not grab many rebounds until Game 7. He started playing like it mattered to him in Game 7. He was playing really hard offensively, grabbing boards, and really started to give the Cavs a burst of energy at the beginning of the game. And, of course, he made that great game-winning defensive play, game-saving defensive play on Steph Curry on that last shot that the Cavs sealed the deal in Game 7. Can he play that hard on defense and on the boards this year in the finals? Forget the points. Actually, we're not going to forget the points. But will he bring that regardless of the points? Let's put it that way. Yesterday, Cavs do need him to keep knocking down those threes. Kevin Love on the left side of the floor is a killer. He hits the threes from that left break area, the left corner. He kills on the left block. Even if you push him off the block, he can hit that mid-range shot. He can face up on you. He can back you down and get a little hook shot. Kevin Love on the left side of the floor offensively is a killer. Can he be a killer on D? Not even a killer on D. Can you just not kill the Cavs on D? And we're going to talk about that in a second. And can you grab some damn rebounds? Grab some fucking rebounds, Kevin Love. And then we got LeBron James. Best player in the world, clean on the chessboard. We already know what LeBron's going to bring to the table. We know what he can do. We know what he will do. Mostly everything that he can do. Last year, led the finals in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks, which is fucking ridiculous. That's a ridiculous stat. Both teams in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. I think he was the first player to ever do that. Probably would be the last player to do it. We know what we're getting from LeBron. We ain't got to say much about him, but we know that this year LeBron's got a different battle on his hands. Instead of guarding the Draymond or an Iguodala, he's going to be guarding the Kevin Durant, who's a lot better than both of those guys. A guy who can get you 35 points, 40, 50 points if you let him get loose. LeBron's got to bring it. All those games he rested this year, and I talked about that in the previous vid where players were just disrespecting the fans by resting, sitting out games. Okay, LeBron, all those games you rested, that energy you saved up, let's see it now. On defense against KD, because the Cavs don't have anyone else who can really guard KD. They're going to try J.R. Smith. They're going to try Richard Jefferson. They're going to try Shumpert. None of it's going to work. LeBron's going to have to guard KD when it matters. And every game, every minute matters. And he's still got to do his thing offensively. Let's see that energy that you saved up, LeBron. Now you need it. Now you need it. This is what he saved it up for. Let's see it. Bring it right now against KD. Now let's look at this overall series. There's some key matchups that we got to watch out for. Here are the key matchups. Number one, Steph Curry against Kyrie Irving. Can either one of them do anything defensively to where their team does not have to plot and scheme to try to slow down that other guy by using mixed matches and all of this stuff? Can Steph Curry do anything to slow down Kyrie on D? And can Kyrie do anything to slow down Steph Curry when he's playing D? I don't think either one of them can or will. Actually, they both can. I don't think either one of them will, but either one of them does. Huge factor for either team whose player does that. Next thing, Klay Thompson. He's way better than anybody the Cavs have at that second guard spot. How much can he create a gap between what he does and what the Cavs guys do at that second guard spot? The bigger this gap is, the better it is for the Warriors. The better for the Cavs is if they can make this gap small. If they can make it a draw, just a draw, or even if Klay wins but only by a small amount, he outplays them but just by a small amount, win for the Cavs. So what is this gap going to be between Klay and whoever the Cavs put at that second guard slot opposing him? Draymond Green against Tristan Thompson in the energy guy, the mental toughness guy matchup. I mean, everybody on the teams have mental toughness, so let me not say it that way. I don't want anyone to get it misconstrued. But the energy guy, Draymond is an energy guy. Whether you want to, even though he's an all-star, even though he could get you 20 points if he wanted to, Draymond's an energy guy, is the mental energy. Not just the Tristan, you see it physically more because he's running around grabbing offensive boards, tipping the ball out, not scoring much, whereas Draymond is dribbling, passing, doing skill things, but at the same time, his mental energy is what makes this team go. And the fact that everybody on that team knows he's going to hold you accountable and hold himself accountable if things aren't done the right way. The battle of the energy guys. And especially, again, watch this. When Tristan's in the game, is Draymond going to be guarding him on D? And can Draymond keep Tristan off the glass? Who on the Warriors is going to keep Tristan Thompson off the glass? That is a huge X factor matchup that needs to be watched. Key factor matchup that needs to be watched. Next thing, LeBron against KD. How much can KD equal LeBron's production-wise? I'm talking rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, points, all that. How much can KD close the gap between what LeBron does and whoever is playing versus LeBron? And last year was Draymond. How much can KD close that gap? And who's the Cavs going to put on KD? It got to be LeBron James. That's another key matchup, key factor. What is LeBron James going to do defensively guarding a guy like LeBron James? Another thing that you got to watch out for in this series is the bigs matchup. The bigs matchup being, how much are you going to get out of a David West, a Jaja Pachulia, and a, who's the other guy? JaVale McGee for the Warriors. How much do you want to play those guys? Because we know the Warriors got that depth lineup. 5 shooters. Draymond, KD, Steph, Klay, and Klay. We know all those guys. We know what they can do. And that 5th guy, Iguodala or Sean Livingston, or you can put in Ian Clark now, because he can knock down that outside shot. How much are the Warriors going to not use that lineup and put one of these bigs in the game? And when they do, how are the Cavs going to exploit those bigs? Since I tell you something, they will exploit them. David West, Jaja Pachulia, and JaVale McGee, put them in a pick and roll situation for the Cavs offensively. LeBron with the ball and whoever they're guarding, setting that screen. What is one of those guys going to do when they get switched off onto LeBron James? We saw in the Celtics series, switching a big onto LeBron James is a bad idea, is a losing proposition. You don't do it. Therefore, when the Cavs are going to run that pick and roll, you got to have 5 guys who can all switch and move around, all playing all at the same time. How are they going to maneuver that? Because even when Steph Curry's in the game, if you let Steph Curry's guys set the screen for LeBron, now Steph has to guard LeBron, that's a losing matchup. You got to send help. Where's that help going to come from? When LeBron finds those open guys, who's going to knock down that shot? So it's really like a chess match. But on the other side of the ball, when the Warriors have the ball, there's another thing the Cavs got to deal with. Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson. When the Warriors go 5 out, Klay, Steph, KD, Draymond, and another perimeter guy, Iggy, Livingston, Ian Clark. Who is Kevin Love guarding? Who is Tristan Thompson guarding? If Channing Frye's in the game, who is he guarding? If Richard Jefferson is in the game, who is he guarding? When the Warriors put that depth lineup out there, how are the Cavs going to figure that out? Last year, they figured it out because there was a guy they could ignore. Harrison Barnes wasn't making any shots. So this year, you replace Harrison Barnes with Kevin Durant. You can't ignore that man. How are the Cavs going to mitigate that matchup? Because they will need to figure out how to mitigate that matchup. So overall, so y'all know, this is the 3rd time I recorded the same video. The first time it was 40 minutes long, the audio didn't work. The second time, the whole video just stopped at the 10 minutes. I don't even know why. Now this time it's finally working. I know it's working. Who's going to win this series? I like to go with the best player on the floor. LeBron James is the best player in the world. We already know that. No suspense there. But Golden State Warriors are playing for redemption right now. They got to redeem themselves after last year blowing a 3-1 lead. Draymond, their main mental energy guy, wants to redeem himself for, he said he wants to destroy the Cavs if they meet again in the finals. He said that before the season. And I'm sure he wants to redeem himself because I'm sure he took the fault in private with his teammates and let them know, yo, it's my fault that I got suspended. We should have won the finals. I know he wants to prove that. I know Kevin Durant wants to finally win a championship. That's why he came to the Warriors. I know Steph Curry wants to redeem himself from getting outplayed by Kyrie last year in the finals. The whole Warriors organization just wants to, they want to win a championship after they lost last year being 73-9. However, Cleveland Cavaliers beat them last year after being down 3-1 after all the shit talk after Game 4 by everybody. Klay Thompson's dad talking about the Warriors better than the Lakers in the 80s. Klay Thompson making little comments. Steph Curry's wife making comments. Draymond Green saying whatever he said to LeBron James on the court after he punched him in the nuts. The Cavaliers were galvanized by that. They got some energy from that, and they started playing. LeBron James took that team to a place that no one had ever taken the Cleveland Cavaliers. He proved he's the greatest player of this generation by far. He's in that Michael Jordan conversation. He said in the offseason, that article in Sports Illustrated, I'm chasing after one guy, number 23. That's the guy I'm going after right now. Cavs' confidence is sky high right now as a team. Their confidence is super high. They ran through the East the same way the Warriors ran through the West. They beat the Warriors last year, so they won't be deer in the headlights in the first 2 games this year like they were last year, deer in the headlights. They know they can beat this team. KD or no KD, they know they can win. They know what they're capable of. They have the ultimate leader in LeBron James on their team. Everybody on that team knows exactly what they need to do and how they need to do it. Who's going to win, though, is the question. Cleveland Cavaliers are going to win the 2017 NBA championship in Game 6 in Cleveland. Cavs will win the finals, 6 games in Cleveland. Bigger celebration this year than it was last year when they won the title on their home floor. I want to know what you think. Who's going to win? How many games? Why? Tell me about these key factors. The point guards, Curry against Kyrie. Can either one of them play any D against the other guy? Klay Thompson versus the Cavs guards, other guards. What's the gap going to be between that? The mental energy guys. Tristan Thompson, mental and physical. Draymond against Tristan Thompson. Who's going to keep Tristan Thompson off the glass? Who is Kevin Love or Tristan guarding when the Warriors go small, if at all? Are they even going to be on the court? KD versus LeBron. How much can KD make LeBron work on defense to take away some energy maybe for him to do his thing on offense? Who of the Warriors bigs is going to play? JaVale, David West, Jaja Pachulia. Is any one of those guys even going to get on the court when the Cavs go small and spread the floor and start running that pick and roll? Even if they don't go small, how are they going to keep one of those guys on the court when they start running that screen and roll and get LeBron being guarded by Jaja Pachulia or JaVale McGee or David West? That ain't going to work. What are they going to do in that situation? And who's going to win? How many games? Why? Let me know. Y'all interact with me, interact with everybody else. Y'all know how it goes. Keep it respectful. Keep it clean. So you ain't got to agree with everybody's comment, but be respectful. Don't be saying no nasty, crazy shit in here because I don't play that. You will get deleted. You will get blocked. And there ain't no warnings. And that's it. I want to know what you think. And yes, I will be reviewing every single game of the finals with another video after every game starting tonight. And that'll be out tomorrow. Y'all know what it is. It's my favorite time of year. NBA finals time on YouTube, on Twitter, everywhere. Let's get to it. Dre all day. Third time I did this video, but it finally worked now. DreAllDay.com. NBA finals. Let's do it.
Hey, witness on the beat.